Welcome to the podcast, Truck Hauling Talks. I'm John Jackson. The goal of this podcast is to bring you thoughtful discussions, interesting points of views, insights, and valuable information that you can apply to your trucking operation. The podcast is dedicated to exploring the most pressing transportation challenges from development and start to implementation. Truck Hauling Talks believes that transportation is an essential part of our daily lives and is passionate about finding ways to make it more sustainable, efficient, and profitable for drivers and small businesses. Thank you for listening to Truck Hauling Talks. Now here's this week's podcast. All right, thank you once again for joining us on Truck Hauling Talks with Wisdom and Authority Title Solutions. Chanel White is gracious enough to meet with us each week at this podcast time and share valuable information with us. She's been in the industry for close to 20 years, helping people with their title registrations, solutions, solving registration or titles. And this week, we're going to continue our segment on operating authority requirements. Welcome, Chanel, and take it away.
All right, John, thank you for having me. So it's a whole lot involved when it comes to your operating authority. When it comes to DOT and DMV, you have the operating authority side, then you have the licensing side. So it's very important. Truckers, before they actually get their authority, they may want to lease on to someone else's authority. Why? Because it could be cheaper, and maybe they don't want to be bothered with a lot of the compliance things at hand as well. So when you are becoming an owner-operator, ask yourself that question. Do you want to lease on to someone else's authority just to get your feet wet a little bit? Or do you just want to go head first and get your own authority and take on all of the responsibility yourself? Look at that before you actually get into trucking to see where you want to go.
I had some questions dealing with getting their own authority or getting their MC number. There are fees that are included in getting your authority and your MC number. Can you explain a little bit of that process?
So you're paying the $300 for the authority filing. That includes the MC and DOT number, and of course the overall process when it comes to the DOT filing process. You know, what they're looking for in terms of paperwork, or if you're filing electronically, all of that, the insurance requirements as well. That's just the filing fee that DOT charges.
Okay. Now I've heard it stated that, with the insurance part of it, the minimum is, I believe, $750,000, but
That's correct.
Okay. But most companies don't want to use you unless you have, I guess, over that
$1
amount.
million.
Yeah.
So most owner-operators, and I've been saying this since I've been, in this field, most will take the insurance up to $1 million, which is perfectly fine. You want to have more coverage than you need.
Okay.
Hopefully you won't have to go that route, but it's right. Good to have more. But yeah, the $750 is the minimum.
Okay. Now that's interesting because you look at it with the amounts that they're charging drivers, or the amount that they're paying drivers for hauling the freight, and you want them to have $1 million worth of insurance or more. However, you don't want to pay for the securement of that freight going down the road. It's important. I guess it's a two-way street. You want to meet the drivers halfway on that. Does that have something to do with the prices that they're charging? The shippers or the companies?
I don't think it's so much as because of the pricing. I think it could be based on studies or viewpoint from DOT. Because again, DOT or at the federal level, they don't really want to have a lot of liabilities on their end. So they put the burden upon the trucking company or, the customer, and they're looking at the goods as well that you're hauling. So I think it's a little bit of that versus how much the trucker are getting paid. It's a lot, you look at the damages. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of accidents regarding semis lately. And, so it's, you look at hazardous materials. They got to clean things up off the interstates. You look at lost goods, damages, and, the other day, it was a case of, or I won't say a case, but some frozen turkeys. Something happened with that, and the trailer caught on fire.
Okay.
So it's a lot. And I think DOT look at these what ifs and they give out that insurance blanket, if you will, in terms of what should be, the minimum in
Okay.
terms of coverage.
Okay. Now, to be fair with the truck drivers, they're not always at fault, but the companies are willing to settle with the claims. How do you feel about that, with the insurance companies settling in some cases where it may not be a situation where the driver was at fault?
Well, I don't think it's fair. And I'm not a trucker, of course, but I really feel it's a very unfortunate situation. The truckers have a lot on their plate. Not only, are y'all transporting the goods, but you gotta make sure the goods are at the proper weight. You're constantly doing checks of the vehicle, while you're moving. So it's not your fault, but it's like at the end of the day, the company, they don't care. They're looking at it. It still goes back to you.
Yeah.
It's your load. And that's the attitude that they have,
Okay.
even though you're trying to do everything that you can to minimize or prevent accidents.
Okay. Yep. That's one good way of looking at it. It's our load while we're moving down the road with it it's our load until they take it off the trailer or decline the load for whatever reason. It's our responsibility either way. So how does that negatively impact the trucking company when something like this takes place?
Well, when it comes to DOT, the scores are impacted. Freight brokers, they're looking at your mishaps as well. So it could impact you from a loading perspective, getting those loads.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that's what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the sad thing of it is, in this industry, you really have to fight hard when it's not your fault. And a lot of times they don't look at that aspect that it's not your fault. They look at it that, hey, this still happened. I think it's kind of irrational and unreasonable, but nevertheless, it happens anyway. That's the viewpoint that they have.
Right. I guess it's because they already know you have the insurance. So it's a little bit easier for even the lawyers of other motorists involved. If it's more than one vehicle, if it's more than a tractor, everyone zeroes in on the trucking company. Be careful, drivers out there. There are situations where on the highways, I see it time and time again, where cars jump in front of you. You're going to be put in a bad spot. Or you have a situation where you have to switch lanes because of somebody coming on the highway. So you're looking for a safe way, a safe path, and you may not be able to move over, but you can slow down. I know you don't want to take your foot off the gas, so to speak. You don't want to stop the cruise control on your vehicle. But when you're driving through a big city or you have a lot of traffic or on the highway around you, use precaution. Drive safely. I saw it this morning on the highway. Truck behind the car, a little bit closer than they needed to be. It was too close for comfort, in my opinion. Give those motorists a chance to react. They're not professional drivers, so they're not going to look at the big picture like you're looking at the big picture and see different things that are going on around them and react the proper way. It even happens in the trucking industry. I know you get a little tired, so you're trying to hurry up and get to your destination, but the most important thing is you arriving safely and delivering those goods. Take the time to use caution going down the road, taking care of yourself, taking care of others around you. Don't be distracted. If you're tired, rest. Get some rest somewhere down the road. If you have to pull over somewhere safe. Not on the side of the road, not on the side of the highway if you can help it. If you can find a rest area or a large parking lot that you may be able to pull into for however long you need to get your rest, to get that power nap. Take advantage of that. Okay, so we're talking with Chanel White of Wisdom and Authority Title Solutions, and we're dealing with operating authority requirements and the insurance part of it. Kind of felt compelled today to talk a little bit about the insurance part of compliance. Well, okay. All right, I'm going to let you take care of what you got to take care of. All right, thank you again.
Thank you. You
You're
take
welcome.
care.
All right, bye.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Truck Hauling Talks can't make this podcast a success alone. You'll be joining a transportation community who share the same dedication to this important topic. Not only will you hear about the latest videos when you subscribe, but you'll also have the opportunity to engage with Truck Hauling Talks and other subscribers in the comments section. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and explore the world of transportation with us. Be safe, driver.